Indian first and foremost. I come from many tribes, so I am considered a mulatto in the United States. So I have this from the Ute tribe, and this is a fact that they have from Virginia. It says this: Virginia passed two acts in 1682 that combined Native Americans and Africans into one category as Negroes and other slaves. The word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons. We are of the opinion that the words white, Negro, mulatto, and black person, whenever they occur in our Constitution, must be taken in their generic sense. That the words black person in the 14th section must be taken as contra, distinguished from white, and necessarily includes all races other than the Caucasian. The People versus Hall, October 1, 1854, as cited in Forbes 1993, page 65. The science of racial myth, as initiated by the 18th century Carl von Linné and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, coded Europe as white, Asia as yellow, Africa as black, and America as red. Without the slightest regard to the facts, neither Linné nor Blumenbach had never seen any of the people they presume to describe and classify. The American Indian, who became reclassified as free person of colored and colored, mulatto, was placed under the umbrella of Negro. This was brought to you by Crystal from the GED section. Thank you. Have a good day. How you doing? Okay, that is right there is from the Ute tribe, and they just wanted to let everyone know that an American Indian was classified as Negro.
Say that again.
The American Indian was reclassified as free person of color, colored, mulatto, and placed under the umbrella of Negro.
Okay.
Oh, boy, I love you too. Hey, Chandonay. Hey, Sean. Hey, Jenny.
So, yeah. Reclassified, detribalized.
Yes,
that's what's going on.
Once they named them Negro, that means they detribalized, different people. And then inside of the Forbes magazine book about the book is very hard to find, so you only can really find like excerpts. So I also got, hold on.
Yeah, my camera real.
To read to you too. Ooh, I'm gonna open this
up. My camera real wacky,
this current paper from Dr. Warren Mittler. Oh,
salutes, big dog Philly.
So,
peace and power.
It's called The Classification of Native Americans as Mulattoes in Anglo-Saxon North America. And this is from a book that Forbes, the magazine, wrote about America. And this is chapter 7. One of those paragraphs I just read you all come from that book. I am now fit to open up this term paper by Dr. Warren Mittler. And we have the Indian Civil Rights Act of 1968. That is something interesting to look over.
Yeah, please go into that for them.
I'm looking for it. Hold on. Oh, I know a way to find it. Hold on.
Okay, you good, sir.
1 second. I gotta go over here.
Oh yeah, and this is fair use.
Ooh. Hey, Cynthia. How you doing? Oh, Sheila, you like the white red? Hey. Sheila, you learn something new every day. Oh, Super Punch puking you out. I didn't want that. I want to open this.
I might play some music for him.
So this paper here is called The Complications of Liberty, Free People of Color in North Carolina from the Colonial Period through Reconstruction. And it's written by Warren Eugene Midler Jr. A dissertation submitted to the faculty of University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of History in the College of Arts and Sciences, Chapel Hill, 2013. Approved by Kathleen Duvall, Melinda Lowry, Theta Purdue, Zaragoza Vargas, and Watson Jennison. These are already other doctors who approved his paper and said it was good to go. All rights reserved. We are going to read the chapters, table of contents, the origins of free people of color, defining free people of color, creating people of color in the law and society, descent from free women, from Indians to colored people, manumission, conclusion. Second chapter, family and social relations. Introduction, family relations among free people of color, family relations among free people of color and slaves, family relations among free people of color and whites, single parent families, conclusion. Chapter 3, completing colonial hierarchies. Introduction, racial categorization, gender, and class in the law. The lives of servants and apprentices, the lives of all other free persons, conclusion. Chapter 4, debating the position of free people of color, the debate during the early national period, the debate in the antebellum era, conclusion. Chapter 5, racial community, beyond racial community, social relations and community, commerce, a single system of law and politics, conclusion. Chapter 6, the Civil War, life in a Confederate state, the Union effort, victory at home, conclusion. Chapter 7, reconstructing society. Introduction, the political contest, racial categorization in the post-war period, conclusion. And then it has the bibliography in the book. But I wanted to read the titles, the titles of the chapters. I'm going to read y'all just because, some of y'all might want to hear it, then some of you may not, because I'm also recording on YouTube right now, you all. So, y'all know I've been doing YouTube and Twitter. So I've been missing on Facebook.
Go ahead and tell everybody your YouTube. Everybody over there that's watching.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Crystal's Corner, #MoHair, #MoKitchen. Mo Kitchen.
Salute.
And my Facebook page is Sumo's and Crystal's Life. So we're going to skip to this chapter right here on page 33, from Indians to colored people. Let's get to the stick. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead and get to it. Stick. Get to the real shit.
So we know all of this is true and accurate because he wrote it for his dissertation paper. And anyone who ever been to college, you know that you cannot submit no bullshit. Right? Or it will it'll get sent back and you'll be fined for plagiarism. Okay, so I found it. It says from Indians to colored people. A portion of the free population of color was composed of Indians and their descendants. Several examples of people claiming their freedom from a matrilineal line going back to a native woman have already been discussed in this chapter. Yet another related social phenomenon took place beside the growth of free people of color descend from native women. The phenomenon was that the transformation of native people in the eyes of their white neighbors, from Indians to Negroes, mulattoes, and colored persons, from the colonial period into the early national era, whites began a slow process of reclassifying native peoples from Indians into ambiguous non-white others, thereby eliminating the legal distinctions between a diversity of native peoples and other non-whites from their arrival in the Americas. Colonists bound native peoples to certain areas of land just as they associated their neighbors in Europe to certain territories. The earliest maps of North Carolina show territorial boundaries for each native nation that inhabited a particular area. From this point on, the colonists would associate particular land masses with particular native people. However, colonization itself threatened to destroy the colonizer system of organizing native people. Through the 17th and 18th century, the colonizers appropriated thousands of acres of native land for their own use and thus pushed native people off the lands these colonists had used to define the different native groups. Native peoples no longer fit definitions of Indian created during the earliest days of colonization, as native peoples' life ways changed from those observed by the earliest colonists, and the lands once controlled by native people transferred to the lands of whites. So I want y'all to understand something real quick. When they say whites, they don't necessarily mean skin tone whites. My family were considered whites because they were European. But they were actually swarthy, which means dark skin. Yeah, I know it don't make no sense. I know it don't. But that's what white means. Okay, so they had a few whites, but not necessarily. They weren't even white. King Little Turkey said they didn't look white to him. Just like a mulatto to him. But okay. Along with changes in lifeways and land ownership, North Carolina law and later federal law discouraged local officials from continuing to count native people as Indians in certain areas of the state. North Carolina and federal law gave Indians certain protections unavailable to other people. During the colonial period, North Carolina required official approval of all land sales between Indians and colonists in order to prevent the colonists from acquiring Indian lands through unscrupulous means. That's a lie. Oh man, I lost my page. Excuse me, I touched the screen and it just went shut off. I must be giving out too much good shit.
Oh yeah, you're good, sis.
The universe is like, slow down, Crystal, slow down. You better make these people have a heart attack.
Yeah, we got a lot of information for them, though.
Yes, you better make them have a heart attack. Did you just say that the colonists took the Indians and told them they couldn't be Indian no more and took their land? Yes, I did.
Yep, that's what you did. That's what you said. And that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what went down.
Remember we went over the 1740s?
I found my page back.
Oh, you found it?
Back.
Okay.
The neighbors of the Native people also likely detested the tax-exempt status of Indians, since many of the Native neighbors lived in a manner very similar to their non-Native neighbors. So what they did was say, this part over here Native, and you niggas over here ain't. Even though we both live the same way.
That's crazy.
They owned farms, spoke English, and participated in the market economy. Tax-free status potentially gave Indians surrounded by non-natives a special privilege in a society designed to promote white domination. There's also a possibility that at least a few Native people did not want to be classified as Indians and went along with attempts to categorize themselves under more ambiguous terms. In the colonial context, Indian had many negative connotations associated with it, including savagery and primitivism. Indians in the colonial context were situated as social and political outsiders in opposition to the colonists. Negroes, mulattoes, and colored people were not equal to whites in the colonial and early national context, but they were not outsiders. Evidence suggests most people accepted that if these non-whites were free, they were entitled to liberties associated with the freedom, including citizenship. Native people living as a part of the surrounding society may have actually benefited from not being categorized as Indians. And this was page 33, important page 34 from the dissertation paper. He got this evidence from the state records of North Carolina, volume 23, pages 62 through 66. And he also, further discussion of Indian as a social construct, see Alexander Harmon, Indians in the Making, Ethnic Relations and Indian Identities Around Puget Sound, Berkeley University of California Press, 1998. That's where he got his information for what I just read you all.
Yeah, that's the source. If you need to go get that source. That's the source.
That is the source.
What other source you
and the other source is Folarin Shalom, Black People in Britain, 1555 through 1833, London, Oxford University Press, 1977, pages 122 through 124. Roxanne Wheeler, The Complexion of Race, Categories of Difference in 18th century British culture, Philadelphia, the University of Pennsylvania Press, 2000, pages 160 through 161. See T.H. Breen and Stephen Ennis, Mine on Ground, Race and Freedom on Virginia's Eastern Shore, 1640 through 1676, New York Oxford University Press, 1980. Those are the sources for the paragraphs I just read you all. Hi, Amanda Hastings. I just read some real interesting information to some and very boring information to others. To some, it was very, very highly interesting. And to others, what in the hell is she talking about? I am talking about the fact that in North Carolina, we were Indians and then renamed free persons of color, and then mulattoes, and then Negroes, and now black, and all the way to fucking damn a whole nother continent across the water that we ain't come from, called Africa, which is on the same dirt with Europe, Asia, and India, by the way. None of it is separated by water, by the way. It's one hemisphere. It's the Eastern Hemisphere. We have European descent because I also have a record from my grandfather, Randall Haynes, who was born 1656. It is about his grandfather, William Haynes, who came with the first patent, the London and the Plymouth companies that King James I granted in 1606 when they first came to our shores of Turtle Island. And it said in 1606, King James, what I just told you, he granted those patents. And then it also said that they came here looking for gold, right? And they didn't find no gold, so they were very hungry. And the Indians was whooping their ass. Because who said you come over here and dig for anything? Right. Who these niggas? Okay. So then they left and went back to England, right? And then in 1618, remember the year 1618?
Write that down.
They brought,
I was telling them to write that down. I'm going to write it down
1618, right? Because y'all love that 1619 shit. But no. This is from the Episcopal Church Records of England. They said in 1618, they brought 90 maidens from Bristol to America, and they gave to Virginia. Excuse me, it was not called America then, it was called Virginia. They brought 90 maidens to Virginia, and they gave them away as rewards to the settlers who remained behind. And then they had children, and then Virginia became settled. So for years and years and years, they were bringing girls, and then they started bringing prisoners of war and hardened criminals and just vagrants, okay? And then they also, from 1606, and then starting at 1618, they started kidnapping children and abandoned children. They would bring abandoned children and also kidnap people's children and bring them here to Virginia and sell them to plantations. When they sold those melanated, swarthy, abandoned, and kidnapped children to the planters who were here already from Europe, they named them also Negro. But then if they got older and had a child with one of the girls here, then they were named mulatto. Right.
That's
so
wild.
Then also inside of that record from my grandfather, Randall Haynes, it say that that the Episcopal Church was the state of Virginia until 1786. The United States became a country in 1776. You catch that wild Indian?
Yeah, I caught that. It wasn't what year did you say it was incorporated?
1606.
Okay. It was incorporated
That's when
1606.
King James said that from Maine down, probably not in Canada yet, but from Maine down to Georgia was Virginia. And the church was the state from 1606 until 1786. And they took records of all births, all marriages, all burials. Any person, regardless of your religion, they the children had to be baptized, and also they recorded it. So when they tell us they don't have our family records, they are completely false. Because why? Because you can go to Lenexa, Kansas, to this big old facility in Lenexa, Kansas that has all the records of all the American Indians renamed Negro. And that's in Lenexa, Kansas.
Lenexa, Kansas?
Yes, Lenexa, Kansas.
Yeah, y'all look that up if y'all want to. Lenexa, Kansas. Yeah, see if you got your people up there. If they got your people up there or not. Genealogy.
And also, and this is another reason how I know that the Europeans were swarthy, is because my grandfather, Henry Bertram, he was here in Burlington, New Jersey in 1747, and his Quaker notes say the people of color, Quaker notes for Burlington, New Jersey, 1747, and my grandmother was a Scarorti Tuscarora. Her name was Sarah Margaret Lees, and my grandfather Henry Bertram, his father was Jonathan Bertram, and his mother was Rebecca Borden. Rebecca Borden's great grandmother was Catherine of Berin from the House of Tudor. Okay, that's enough of my family genealogy right there. Yeah. I have a picture of my third great grandmother who was born either 1842 or 1852, I'm not exactly sure, and she died in 1939. And we have a photo of her. For people who do not know about pictures, the first Polaroid picture was made in 1812. So yes, I can have a picture of my grandmother who was born in the 1840s, because they had already invented pictures long before she was born. So I have a picture of my third great grandmother, and she is of the darkest hue melon that you could possibly have. And her other parent, her daddy, his family is Scottish and Cherokee, and her mother family is Rappahannock from the Powhatan Confederation, and her daddy, European. That's another set of parents. Well, I can keep going, because you start with 4 grandparents, and then it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Okay, and I have several of those people. I found them all, not all of them, but quite a few of them. Yeah. Okay. That's my genealogy, and my family was swarthy, and then I have a picture of my grandmother to prove it all.
Hey, Crystal. Blessings to the room.
Hey.
Crystal, I came in late when you were talking about, you were saying something about 16 something, and I was trying to come up to speak to ask you, like, what you were talking about, like the context, so I could get an understanding. What were you referring to during the 1600s?
1606.
Yes.
King James I granted the London and the Plymouth companies to come over here and name this place Virginia.
Oh,
and they did it under the guise of the Episcopal Church.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about detribalizing. They used Christianity to detribalize us.
Right, yeah. They used the church.
In the church.
So the reason why the church King James could come is because in what year was it? I think it was 350, really, with Constantine in the year 350, right? He said that they made Christian a religion, right? Christianity a religion, and then they also said that they granted Papa's bull, right? So that's any land they go to, they can conquer if they go there and the inhabitants aren't Christian. So they made a decree to say they can control the whole world if they go to your land and y'all not already Christian.
Is that eminent domain?
Huh?
Is that eminent? I believe
that's eminent domain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the church. So even though we have United States, the church really has eminent domain of the
Flat
land.
power.
And they do business as the corporation of the United States. Oh, because you just went too deep, girl. Shut up.
Say that again.
Can
Say
I
it again.
Say
it again.
Oh, that was too deep.
Say it again, sis.
Excuse me, what you want me to repeat myself?
Please.
I said the church, right? The church is still in control of the corporation, which is the United States. Because the only way to have eminent domain is through Papa's bull, and that is from the church. Hey, Chris just went across the water real deep, like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just talking about that earlier. That's our biggest threat against humanity is that church.
I'm telling you.
Yes, it is. And that church is the reason why we're now called immigrants in our own land. I am not a parasite. I'm an American Indian. I am not a parasite. I might have a couple of parasite granddaddies, but I got so many more American Indian grandmamas that it outweigh them people. And then when I do my ancestry on familytree.org, right? It's family tree, or people, it's familysearch.org, excuse me. But it is made with a tree and some more shit. Okay, anywho, when I do my search over there, they had a root search last month, and they were connecting you to everybody who have your records, who share the same family records as you do, right? And it told me I was 97% American. I have 791 cousins in America. I have 7 cousins in Canada. I have 13 cousins in the UK. I have 1 in France, 1 in Japan, and 1 in Germany. And this is through records of birth.
Not DNA. Not DNA, is it?
What'd you say?
I say it ain't DNA. That's the records, right?
That's records. It's not DNA. It's records.
Oh, okay.
It's paperwork.
Right. You're right.
My paperwork say I'm related to 791 people in the United States, 7 in Canada, 13 in the United Kingdom, 1 in Japan, 1 in Germany, and 1 in France.
Okay. Yeah, you European, American.
I'm a mulatto. I am what they would consider a mulatto.
Fact.
And they say once you're a mulatto, you want and all your children's mulattoes for the rest of their lives. Hey.
A little Negro pen and a little American Indian.
Yep. A little Negro pen and a whole lot of American Indian. Fuck that. Whole lot of American Indian. A whole lot of that. Because I'm 97% American Indian. Okay. 97. Right. And when you do your records and you do your genealogy, you are also going to find out that you probably are 97% American too. And then also this, that you have granddaddies who fought in the war. They didn't let who they considered to be a foreign born, to join the military. Because they said you didn't have allegiance to the nation over here under the flag of the United States. So I joined the military, and they ask you all kind of crazy questions about your lineage. And then in the 70s, in the 60s and 70s, they used to take blood tests. And then one of the people who was in one of my genealogy classes told me that when he did that blood test to join the military, it told him that he was 99% Indian. And he didn't know he was Indian at all.
And Crystal, it's funny that you say that because I was trying to tell a few people in another space I was in about kind of what clues to look for in their genealogy to find the American Indian, and I brought up the wars, and I had mentioned that when you find your ancestors in a Revolutionary War, that's not an African. An African, they wouldn't have never brought someone from Africa to fight in the Revolutionary War and receive a pension. I said, I've come across pension records. I mean, are they really bringing a slave over and paying them for their service? No way. So It's just funny you mentioned that because I've come across so many records for pensions. I have several for different ancestors where they received a pension, their wife received a pension, even for the Revolutionary War as well as the Confederate War. And last night, I just found ancestors who fought on the Union side. Typically, I find the Confederate side because obviously more ancestors in the South. But I have a few that were in the North in like the 1800s, so they fought Union, but also received pension. So that's just a clear indication that that's an American Indian.
Yeah, I found land patents today. That's crazy. Go ahead, sis. Yeah, everybody that's tapping in, yeah, we on Twitter Space right now. So if y'all want to get on Twitter Space, or y'all want to stay right here and hear what we talking about, just stay right here. Anybody else want to share something?
Well, since I came in late, what exactly were you guys talking about exactly? Outside of like King James and the 1606? Like, what was really the topic?
We own everything, but we own basically the topic is the lineage. Yeah, that's what the topic is, the lineage. But you can tap in on anything you want to share as far as that. Yeah. Salutes to the chat, man. Everybody who tapped in right now, salute. Let's see. We finna get crazy with it tonight, though. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, though. We finna go where it's hot at. You feel me? In a minute. And after we shut down on this space, we're going to that space. Hold on real quick. Yeah.
Listening, but yeah, I mean, I can talk about my lineage kind of all day long. I just tweeted today that I did find out I had some Saponi and what's the other one? I forgot the other tribe. I have to look back at my tweet, but Yeah, last night I was just doing more ancestry research, and I came across a few other tribes that tied into my lineage. And I was in a space earlier. We were talking about, identity crisis that people were having since doing their research. And one of the things I brought up is how people are even determining which tribe to subscribe to, considering that so many of us find so many. I know a lot of people just stick with, the matriarch, right? But
Right.
I mean, there's still, even on the other side, paternal, obviously, you'll have like maybe 4 tribes on that side, 4 on the matriarch side, so for me, I've come across Panunkey, Powhatan, now last night Saponi, Choctaw Creek. So there's a lot going on in my tree, but I feel like that's kind of common for a lot of us. But yeah, that's really where I'm at right now.
Okay. You done got back pretty far then. That's pretty much, you gotta, I want you to kind of tell the people how you, like, you ain't got to give them everything, but tell them what kind of tools to use to help them out.
Yeah. Well, the tools that I use, okay, so I've been doing ancestry research for like a little, maybe over 7 years. I think I started around 2015. So I've been doing it for a good minute. But when I had initially started, I wasn't really like searching for my tribes like that. Like, I don't think I was really that privy to the information back then. So now, like, within the past few years, I obviously kind of know what to look for, what clues, and how to cross-reference to figure out, to make it all make sense. So what I do that. So he sent it to me. So it's just things like that I use to cross reference and kind of make things make sense. Because for me personally, like, I'm really critical about information and about making sure things align and match up. Like, I'm really analytical, and I so these are just some things that work for me, but these are just some of the things that I found helpful in piecing my family's history together.
Okay. So do you use the censuses more?
Yeah, I use everything. I use the census records. I use the military records. I mean, any record I can get my hands on. Honestly, I look through everything. And then, I came across even some Freedmen Bank records. And sometimes I noticed that some people, there's a remarks section on that document. And sometimes people would leave remarks, like, you'd be surprised the information they would mention. And on one of my ancestors, he had mentioned his mother and how she had come from Virginia to Georgia with like 3 kids. And then that was very telling for me, because I was able to basically at that point determined that her 3 kids was not of the man who I thought they were, and that she had already had these kids before she was captured. So it's just like little things like that like really complete the story in a way. So yeah, every record that I find, it adds to the puzzle, you know.
Right.
But yeah, the census records are, of course, very, very helpful.
And that's a fact, because I just found some
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
I said, and that's a fact, because I just found some very, very deep information today during my genealogy. Yeah, I found land that been sold, all that.
Wow. Yeah, that's those records are important too. Those land patents, land allotments. I came across a few of those. I came across a Cherokee lottery record, maybe like a month ago, and I had never seen that record before. And it really wasn't. I don't think I could really attach it to my people. But I kept it just in case, you know, I find out whose land it is, and then I can say, here's this record, you may need it. But yeah, those are definitely important to keep, because eventually you're going to want to find that paper trail. Like if it was sold, there should be record of it in the probate courts, you know, like you may want to, and then if it's not, or if a signature was forged or anything like that, then that's your layup. Like, you know, these are just things you can use to reclaim what could have been taken from you.
Salute, sis.
So how far have you gotten in your research?
On different side, I got the farthest back I've gotten is 1794.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, but as far as everybody else, I've gotten way past the 19s to at least to the late 1800s, if not early.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm really trying to. I really went towards my father's side because I knew more about that side, and then once I filled that up, I went towards my mother's side, and I got that. You know, I found a lot of stuff. Everybody from the same areas. You know, a lot of people had land, and out of nowhere they don't have land. 100 years later, like, it's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it's something. Genealogy is really the key.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I know for sure we ain't no immigrants.
Yep, this is a fact, and our genealogy proves it. The history proves it.
Yep, especially when they say on certain documents, like the military documents, you'll see it'll say nationality and it'll have American, and then colored. They let you know that you're not no immigrant. You're this land.
Facts. And I mean, if we were immigrants, they wouldn't have to constantly reclassify us. I mean, the Europeans knew Africans very well. You know, the Africans pretty much taught them everything they knew, Africans and the Moors. So it's like, you knew Africa very well. So if we were Africans over here, all you had to do is classify us as such. Yep. But to call us Negroes and then continue to reclassify us, it's like the jig is up. We on to you. We know what you were trying to do. We see the cover up. We see that your agenda changed from the moment you step foot on this soil to take it. We see how the agenda changed over time. It's like y'all came here, you didn't realize, or you didn't expect what the outcome. You weren't sure. And now when you seized it, okay, now the agenda changes, and okay, now we need to start reclassifying these folks. We need to bring a few Africans here so we can just all list them all as Africans. We need to, like, they scrambling, right? They trying to ethnically cleanse us with the pen. So it's just clear as day that they didn't have their ducks lined up, because we also use their early recorded history against them, because it's like, y'all were dumb as hell because you did document the truth very early. Mm-hmm. And then not only did the colonizers document the truth, but people who were just traveling here just to see what was up was documenting the truth. So what I realized is that a lot of those painters that came here, like through the church, who were just like mingling with the tribes and painting and creating art and taking that shit back to Copenhagen and all these different places, they were telling their stories about their experience too here. And they didn't have any skin in the game because they wasn't a colonizer. They weren't businessmen. They were just people here to expand on their art, their history, you know, the shit that they were doing back home. So they had come here, they had settle for like a month and then go right back. And then next thing you know, you finding diaries in Copenhagen with truth in it. You know, I found like Yuchi language and different things from some of these artists. So you had a lot of that too, where you're finding like the truth. So it's crazy how we can go through government archives, we can go through these different records in Britain and different parts of Europe, and then like use it against them and say, hey, listen, this shit not adding up. Like you saying one thing now, but what you put in documented early times, it, you know, is not adding up, just like with the Native Americans. So you came here, you depicted us, but you never depicted a Native American. You like never depicted anybody Asiatic. So who are these people that you call Native Americans? Like, make it make sense, you know? So it's crazy how we can use our genealogy and their recorded history to really kind of dismantle this shit. And it's all we have to do is just do it.
That was deep.
Yeah, it's crazy because they really aren't that clever. Like, no, really, like, yeah. And it's like we're on to them. That's the thing.
Facts.
And you know what? They see what we're doing because the algorithm picks up on how many times we're searching stuff and we're posting stuff on Twitter, and we got other people searching certain things that we post, and I'm seeing things change in real time. And that's why, like, I try to keep as many like documents and screenshots and original books and things like that, because we're literally seeing them change history. The other night,
hey, Lawberry.
Huh?
Listen, what about this? You used to go and say, give me the Noah's Webster's 1828 definition of American.
Yeah, they took that down.
It's going to take you to some goofy shit now. It used to tell you, honey, they swiped that right on off of Google, honey.
Oh, we got screenshots. Yes, I know. We know who the original American was.
Facts. And you know what's so funny about that, Crystal, is the moment they did that, I went to the original dictionary. I went to 1828 and 1838. I downloaded it, screenshot the definition, and then I started studying the 1755 dictionary, which is the very first English dictionary. And what I started doing is I started comparing words and definitions to the 1838 and then to the current to see how many times it changed, and you will be surprised. Like, this shit is just funny. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Even Negro didn't mean the same in 1755, and then white wasn't even a thing. Like, I'm gonna put in the jumbotron.
Yeah, put it in there.
Please do, please do. So look, let me tell you this too. Damn. Never mind, because I don't forget what I was finna say. I shut up. I mute my mic because I forgot what I was finna say.
Go ahead and expound on that.
While you're remembering what you're gonna say, I was just gonna say this. The other night, I was looking up, you know, that Benjamin Franklin observation letter. I forgot the name of the entire thing, but you guys may know what I'm talking about, where he said in 1751, he was saying, why expand the sons of Africa by planting them in America? And so I wanted to pull the original. And mind you, I already have a screenshot with the source, with the, the source is cited, and I went back to the original source. But tell me why the paragraph was slightly altered. Now, when it mentions Africa being swarthy and tawny and Asia being tawny. Then it mentions America being wholly so. But now they put in parentheses, they put exclusive to newcomers. What you mean exclusive to newcomers? You saying America is tawny because of newcomers? No, that's not what you said before. Now you altered it because y'all see the algorithm picked up on how many times we coming back searching that shit and then saving it and talking about it. But Benjamin Franklin said it himself. He was talking about how dark this land was. We know tawny is brown. But let's not forget, in other sources, they do talk about how swarthy this land was too. And we already know, us Black people, we got range, or American Indians, I should say. We got range. We range from swarthy to tawny. Okay, brown, caramel, light, you name it. So yeah, that was us. But then they started changing it. So it's just funny to see literally how things are being altered. I'm gonna put it in a jumbotron. Hold on.
I got all the complexions. I'm swarthy, tawny, caramel, damn bright, yellow. I got all the complexions on one person. I'm damn rainbow.
Salute,
What
free
you
popper.
say, Library, Negro pen, American Indian? Yes.
Tribe up, man.
Oh, yeah, as I'm looking for some of these excerpts from the dictionary, I forgot in 1755, American wasn't even in the dictionary with a definition. It's like they hadn't even thought of it yet. They didn't even come up with American yet. So we see American is in 1828 and 1838, but it's just funny that that wasn't there. And also Indian wasn't in the 1755 either. So I mean, it wasn't in there as a race of people, like, but it was some other stuff listed, like Indian arrow, like herbs and stuff. I'll put that in there so you guys can see it. But that's also very telling as well.
Mm-hmm. Whole lot of reclassification. Since they touched, they've been calling us different things and making up new stuff. Let me see. For everybody that's on YouTube, I'm about to see this source. I'm gonna put the source in the chat on that one. Hey Libra. Okay.
And it's crazy because if Benjamin Franklin himself said, why expand the sons of Africa by placing them here when we Saxons are already inferior, it's like that tells you everything you need to know also. Like, they did not really bring Africans here like that. And then especially not in the 1600s or at this point, 1751. The few Africans they did bring here didn't come until the 1800s. And that was like damn near mid. They really didn't bring the few Africans they brought here until after the cotton gin was created. So, you know, the math just don't add up. And when you also, I said it earlier, when you study those wars, it also paints a very clear picture. Like I said before, when you have all these wars going on between the British and the Indians, it's like, at what point did you even have the time and not only the time,
manpower and the food, and how you get over here with all this supplies, like I just back then, I don't know.
Right. And then it's like in the 1600s, they had all those Powhatan wars, right? And it's like, okay, so that's telling me you had all these wars going on. That means you wasn't even stable on this soil because you were warring the whole time you were pretty much here at the point you got here. So how and why would you bring Africans when you don't even have a stable home? You got, you know what I'm saying? It's a war after war.
Yeah.
So
you ain't bringing your family.
Stability.
And then also, library, King James from the Episcopal Church said himself that they was getting their ass beat up by the Indians. It was hard to colonize because they were getting beat up by the Indians. Y'all was whooping their ass. I got grandmamas from the Powhatan Confederation too. Charity Harris. And they some more girls, but yeah, they just give her.
And that's my people. That's my people, Crystal, the Harris. I'm still trying to find like where our ancestors connect because I feel like they do.
I feel like they do too because my grandmama Charity Harris was from the Rappahannock tribe, right, which is inside of the Powhatan Confederation. And then my grandmama Ann Izzard was from Rappahannock too.
Oh, we finna go deep tonight, y'all.
Me and Geechee Slow-Mo, that's our grandma. She's both our grandmamas. She had children with different people, but look, and they want to talk bad about girls having babies with different men now. My grandmama had one grandma had about 4 different husbands, and another grandma had 3. And Ilse got married about 3-4 times.
Yeah, I mean, if your husband like passed away or anything, it's like, what are you gonna do? Just sit there? Like, I mean, people needed a husband, people needed a wife. You know, people had duties. You know, you needed someone to take care of the home. You needed someone to hunt. So shit, if one husband failed, you gotta get remarried, or you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot in your genealogy where your grandparents done been married multiple times, maybe. I done found
Granddaddy married multiple times. Everybody just getting married here and there. Finding niggas in different states. Like, how y'all niggas get way in Indiana? Like, why y'all on 2 censuses? One in Indiana and one in North Carolina. But then it said it's still y'all. So, you know what? I just started erasing shit. Yeah. I done moved shit to the maybe section. I done deleted some stuff, some sources, because it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking. It's really, really nerve-wracking.
But like you say, they had to move around to get married sometimes. So.
But they got marriage license in Indiana and in North Carolina. Like, why?
Well, they could be different people then.
No, so what then? Or it could have been that they thought they couldn't get married in North Carolina, but when they got to North Carolina, they made them put their name in their registered book anyway. You know, it could have been one of those situations. I'm gonna figure it out though.
Yeah, sometimes it was some states had different, like, you know, laws and regulations and stuff, and some people found it easier to get married in like different states. I did see some of my Virginia people, they got married in North Carolina, and I think they may have moved there, but I did see that. And then I know, because I'm from Detroit, and so I've done some ancestry on people, you know, my people who were in Detroit. And a lot of them used to get married in Toledo, Ohio, which is just a 2-hour drive, but they would get married there because it was quicker to get married there. And I think maybe fees were less, things like that. So many people would do that. I don't know if, say, back in the 1800s, if it was just more convenient to say, go to Tennessee, or, hey, we're going to move anyway. Let's just wait on our license and do it where we're moving or whatever. You know, there's so many variables. I don't know.
Definitely.
It's crazy because the thing about genealogy is that it really makes you think, and you have to do like not only a lot of research on your family, but you got to do research on where they moved to really understand and really paint the picture. Like, you know, you really got to study these counties. You got to study what the laws were, where they moved, and all these different things, because it just all ties in and it gives you a better idea of like their situations.
Yeah, that's a fact. Do y'all know a lot about the 1740 slave code?
No, I don't think I do. Do you have like a link that you can put it in Jumbotron or?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in there.
No, but in that Jack Forbes, in that excerpt that I got from that Jack Forbes book, that they had all those different acts and laws that they enacted for the different years. So I think I read that one. I was looking at it today, and I think I read that year for some shit they did.
Yeah, I got the excerpts from South Carolina. But,
what's the Jack Forbes, Crystal?
Send me. Do I got your email, Library? Let me look.
Yes, it's a library at gmail.com.
I'm just gonna go to our messages, and find your email in here. Oh, there you go. I'm finna send it to you. Hold on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How do I put it in the Jumbotron?
When you go to the tweet, you'll just click on the share. Like you're gonna share it or send it to someone in a direct message, but you'll see your space, like the name of your space at the very top, right under share tweet, and then you just click that, and it'll post.
All right. I'm finna put it in the chat on YouTube. You had anything else you want to expound on?
Did you put it in the chat? I don't see it.
I shared it to you. I sent it.
Oh, thanks, Crystal.
You're welcome.
Check my email.
Yep, yeah.
Hey, Nick. Thank you for sitting in here with us with our boring information to most.
Well, I like this information. I like the quality spaces with the good info.
Oh, well, won't be no rah-rah over here.
No rah-rah. None of the cap.
Period. Let's see. We need productivity.
Yeah.
Spaces.
And what we have to offer is a bunch of .gov information, because them the people that we got the problem with.
Oh yeah, definitely the government. Mm-hmm. And wow, Indian, were you able to post it? I don't know if my phone is tripping, but I don't see yours in the Jumbotron.
Nah, it posted on my page again.
You said what?
I said it posted on my page again. Hold on.
Oh.
Hold on. I thought I posted it on. Let me see.
Let us pull the bus.
Okay, I have to start printing all these PDFs. I'm about to put this one in a file so I can print this. And then I don't like putting a bunch of wear and tear on my printer, so I'm taking all this stuff to Staples. Because I have so many PDFs at this point that I need to keep up with.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna send it, sis. And she'll send it. She'll put it in there. Yeah, niggas been reclassified in real time. Niggas was running around here talking about all this black shit. This shit is ain't where it's at. Shout out to the chat, man. Everybody tapped in.
Yeah, if anyone wants to come up to the mic, we're just talking about lineage, genealogy, history. So, yeah.
And laws.
Yep.
Right.
Reclassifications. It is very clear with all the information that I shared that the Indian was reclassified Negro.
Facts. Anybody want to any of the listeners?
Yep, that is so true. And Crystal, you posted yesterday. I think Damien had shared in the community what you had posted. I think it was the Negro. What was it? The Negro Law, South Carolina. I had looked at the link, and it literally reads: the American Indian who became reclassified as free person of color and colored mulatto was placed under the umbrella of Negro. So that also tells you everything you need to know about reclassification and who we are. And, you know, the fact that it reads fell under the umbrella of Negro, and then we know who the Negro became. You know, the Negro became Black, and then Afro-American, and then African-American. And now we're under this African-American umbrella with all of these Africans. So it's like from a distance, you can't tell who's who. And our government doesn't care either way because they want to do away with us eventually. You know, they don't want to make the distinction between us and them. So it's like now we have to fight to make that distinction because we don't want to be under an umbrella as an African American when this is our land and our home. So it's just crazy that we, to this day, got to fight these reclassifications. So I mean, this is where we're at with it. That's why I feel like we need to fight against this misnomer before we even fight for the reparation, because it's like they need to know who we are or acknowledge who we are so that we can get the proper reparation and restitution. Because I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to tell this government, yeah, I'm an African descendant, and yeah, give me some dollars. No, I'd rather not have the dollars if that means I have to continue furthering this lie about my lineage. So I first want to compile all these records, my genealogy, including their own records, using that against them to prove or to, I would like for them to counter this, like, because half of this stuff, their own government records goes against what they tell us now. So I need for them to tell us, you know, what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we really have to demand that we reclassify ourselves. And then once that's acknowledged, then we can say, okay, now that you've acknowledged that we are indigenous to this land, we gonna need more than dollars, okay? Because in addition to being indigenous, you enslave some of our indigenous people. You put them through Jim Crow. You put them through redlining, all the other bullshit. And then before all of that, when you step foot on this soil to take it, you took our land. You took our our nature from us, our trees, our land. So yeah, we need it all. You know what I'm saying? And then we need a sovereign a sovereignty, right? So there's a lot that goes into this, and yeah.
Yeah, money is not just gonna solve it. Like you said, we need to go for the things that they think is so small is really the major things.
Yeah, facts. It's really it's deeper than rap for sure. And I have no issue with the people who say that they're, say, 8OS, and they say, well, we want the reparations, whatever. Cool. I'm not advocating for that, and I'm not also against the people who doing that, because hey, if you got some Africans, you got some Africans, and you should go get what you deserve for being an African or whatever it is. But us on the other side, we got the proof to show who we are and what we deserve. So I don't even get into the whole, arguments of who's who, this one is this. I don't force anybody to claim Indian, because honestly, I don't really think everybody is one. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do be showing Negropean behavior, Moorish-like behavior. And I'm like, hey.
Real trader vibes.
Like some of these, some people, they definitely got more Moorish blood, right? Or whatever it may be, So, you got the people who advocate for Moors. And it's like, if you a Moor, you a Moor. You maybe should fight for more reparations, whatever that means.
Don't tell us we Moors and try to group us in with all that. You feel me? Yeah.
And you know what? Even when they do, it doesn't even bother me. Honestly, I just let them talk, because when it comes to countering with the proof and the evidence, I got mine. Let me see yours. Because the thing is, some of the Moors, they can't even really prove they're Moors, because it's like the Negropean/European, they really kind of erase them out of history, because, the power structure don't want to admit they were just they're descendants of a black race, a black power structure. Of course not. So, it's like with us, at least we got records and genealogy, because our shit is really, really recent. But Dark Europe, it goes back a little further, and there's been so much cleansing of that, how much proof do you have to really show that, okay, you were a Moor and you were I don't know, powerful in Europe? Who knows? I don't know. That shit's complicated, but it's not my problem.
Yeah, facts.
Facts, yeah. And I just feel like either way, we will need our own separate task force anyway, because what we're on is something way more intricate and bigger than just, like I said, reparations and the whole ADOS thing. So, there's going to be some separation between the different groups here on this landmass. And like we've been saying, Black people are not monolith. We all have different stories. We all have different lineages and whatnot. So we really can't be grouped as one and fighting for one thing when we're all kind of different. And,
Yeah.
These are the realities. It's crazy.
That's why genealogy is key.
Mm-hmm.
Who down there? I think the brother down there, FBA. You can hop on, bro, if you want to. Y'all can speak out mine. Okay, I guess they don't want to speak. Since you got the flow, if you got any more info you want to give to the people that can help them on their research, on their genealogy, anything.
I say that if familysearch.org, if they ever have the root search again, I suggest that that you sign up for it. If they send you that email, you sign up for it and go see all your different cousins around the world.
Okay, appreciate that.
Excuse me.
Crystal, do you use a MacBook or do you have Windows?
I use my cell phones.
Really? Okay, because I wanted to download my ancestry tree, but I have a MacBook, which I hate. And it doesn't really allow you to like just download your tree like a Windows computer, because I wanted to download it so I can upload it on Family Search. So I was trying to like figure out who has a MacBook to figure out how to go about it. But I can't even open the document on that.
Oh, but you know what? My phone is a Note 9. I got a Note, so you know it works like it's a mini tablet. It has Windows and Mac. And I can download MacBook and Windows.
Salute to everybody in the space. Brother Adonis want to talk. Salute. You want to speak your truth, bro? You gotta unmute.
I just wanted to come in the room because I saw Crystal was in here, and also a library for us. Crystal, I just wanted to ask, how are you? Like, are you doing okay? Like, do you need like anyone to talk to? Like, I just wanted to genuinely check on you to see how you were doing.
You know what? I'm doing fine, sir. People don't bother me because my whole life people have picked on me and bothered me before. So I take this with stride. I'm used to it.
Like, I've actually never been bullied before in my life until like the last 2 months. But I've seen a lot of hate directed towards you, and I'm not going to get into it. But I just wanted to genuinely check on you from as a human to another human. How are you doing? Because like I know that this has like bothered me a lot. I'm not getting into drama, but I just wanted to make sure you were doing okay, and to know that if you ever needed someone to talk to, you can just DM me or you can just message me, whatever you want. Like, there are people that are kind on this app and that will be kind to you, and I just wanted to reach out to you and say, you know, I would be here if you needed someone to talk to.
Oh, I thank you for that. Thank you. That's nice. Thank you. I mean, that's kind, not nice. That's kind. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just going to get off here. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was that. Okay.
Salute.
Thanks for Adonis.
Yeah, that was nice of him doing a wellness check. I like that. I think we need more of that on these platforms.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
That's
I mean, I can
up.
barely hear him over Crystal's crunching. But you eating chips over there, Crystal?
Cracklings. I got some cracklings, some skins.
Yeah, that crunch is real.
Yes, it is. Yes, they call Mutton Jeff old-fashioned country style crackling, pork cracklings. Yes. Then it's a salt and vinegar flavor, so it's even better. Excuse me, y'all. I was going hard too. Look, me and my puppy eat them together. She won't let me eat them by myself, so I got to share them with her.
Shout out to the sisters. They got mad knowledge. For real.
Yes. I love genealogy. I love history. I am obsessed. So I try to share as much as I can and learn as much as I can. And follow as many people who or follow as many people as I can who contribute to, the things that matter, like our history and our progress as a people. So yeah, if any of you guys want to discuss your lineage, if you have any roadblocks or anything, you can come up, we can chat. But yeah.
All right. Who down there? Let me see who down there. They probably just want to listen to the knowledge tonight. If y'all do want to come up, just come up, hit a request, and I'll let you come up. Speak your truth.
What's also amazing about discussing genealogy amongst each other is finding connections, and being able to help each other, because, when you start doing genealogy, you start coming across so many surnames, and then obviously through marriages and whatnot. So, as you come across stuff and you hear people mention certain surnames, you can kind of help people like, oh, you know what, I came across that surname, or I got a record, things like that. So I really do like seeing that on the timeline when people are like making connections, like, oh, that's my people, so it's really dope.
Thanks. Have you seen any I don't know how to say it, any relatives with the same last name, like on different sides?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Have you found any relatives with the same last name on different sides?
I did. I got a grandmama who was her name Mary Head, married a man named Marita Head. They ain't related.
Oh yeah, I do. Well, not. Yeah, somewhat actually. My great grandparents on my mother's paternal side, they have the same surname from the same area, but they're not related. So yeah.
Okay.
And then I did some of my granddaddy's family, and I seen that they came from the same area that my mama's family came from, the Isle of Wight, Virginia.
It was called
Rorosoyat. That was the name before it became Isle of Wight in Virginia.
Okay.
Yep, I have ancestors from there also.
So that's why we cousins. Because the Isle of Wight is a stop sign in a corner. You know what I'm saying? Stop sign be in the corner. And you at that bitch, right?
Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that.
Have y'all run across some slave schedules in Powhatan?
So I got some granddaddies who is the head of the household on the slave schedule, and some uncles.
Same here.
But not on the but guess what? If they were the slaves, you wouldn't get their name because they didn't give the names of the slaves. They gave them bitches numbers.
Mm-hmm. They just put the number of the slaves they had.
Exactly. They ain't give no name of no slave. And the only way you find yourself as a slave is you find your mama. And then they didn't even have last names. They be like Toby and Brenda and Willie and Sally. I leave them to my wife.
Oh,
and their children therein.
Yeah, that's what happened in my with one of my granddaddies. Actually, his basically one of my granddaddies was a slave to his father, and in the will it had said his mother name but called her Negro at the end.
Yeah, same for me. I was able to confirm, the slave records that I found through wills, and the wills were very what's the word, like detailed. Like my ancestors' names. My ancestor, her name was in it, including her children, and like he did put, like, he was basically giving his Negroes to, I think, like his daughter or somebody. So he put like Negro Priscilla, and he listed her children's names. And like I remember one of her daughters, they called her White Sally or something like that, or White something. I guess she must have been really light. And then I guess she had just had a new baby, and he just identified the baby as baby with no name yet or something. And then, like, when I usually see stuff like that, I can start comparing it to the slave schedule based on the years I have to make sure it aligns, since they didn't have names and it was just by gender and age. And usually it always aligns, especially if I find the slave schedules for, like, consecutive years, or, the 10 years, like say 1850, 1860, and then the ages continue to align, then I'm like, okay, yeah, then I'm on the money. It's the same person, right? So yeah, I've definitely come across the slave schedules. I like really examine those, and then I examine the records, the wills. And there was another record I had found. I don't even remember what it was, but somebody had a record where it had listed, like, they had paid one of my ancestors for doing some work, but I don't remember what the record was now. But yeah, a lot of the white people's personal records are very revealing.
Yeah. So, I rarely found any white people that own slaves throughout my research. It's been black people that's been owning the most slaves. And I found my family on the blacks in Appalachia, the Chestnut family on my father's side. And there was a lot of them that owned slaves. There's a lot of black people that back then that owned slaves in that area.
Oh, that's deep. I don't even think I found any black slaves in my family. Black slave owners. I'm still looking into one in Mississippi. I'm not even sure. I just haven't made enough confirmations on this one guy just yet, but he came up white on a few records, but then I feel like on his slave record, he was listed as black, but I couldn't tell if they were listing his slave as black or him as black. So I have to go back to it. But that's really interesting. What county or state did you find your ancestors under black slave owners?
Blacks in Appalachia. It's a book. Actually, my cousin, he a relative of mine, he wrote the book with somebody else.
Oh, okay. That's
you can look it up. Blacks in Appalachia. I'ma post it too.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, post that, and the other link you were talking about. I think you had mentioned the 1740 laws or something. That too.
Yeah, I got you. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, and like you say, I seen a wheel as well, where one of my granddaddies, he couldn't I ain't gonna say he couldn't, but basically his father was saying that he didn't want him to leave the farm until his other son was 22.
Oh, you know what? I saw something like that in mine. So I found a wheel for a slave owner in my family, and my ancestor, he basically freed my ancestor in 1795. He freed him.
Salute,
but then
Tribe.
he freed him under like stipulations, like the same thing, kind of like you said. Like he basically said that he would have to pay his son annually, and then also he could never leave the state. And I'm just like, what? Like,
But
you give somebody their freedom, but then you put all these stipulations on his freedom.
But look, though, basically, our people, it may look bad on that paperwork, but in actuality, it might have been real rough back then, and they didn't want them to leave their family because a lot of family was getting separated. So a lot of people wanted to stay together.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it. I didn't look at it that way, but that's true.
Mm-hmm. That's just like the positive aspect of what I've been researching and asking the elders as well. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing too is that I think a lot of these slave owners was really invested in the counties they lived in, and they really wanted to build these counties up for their own families and generations to come. So they wanted to keep some of these people there to continue to build the wealth for their generation. So it's like, shit, you can't leave. I'm gonna need you here working with other people, building this place up. And then also, if he's demanding him to pay his son annually, then shit, he might not get paid if you can leave the state. So it's like, if say he did leave Georgia and went to Florida, there's a good chance that he wouldn't pay his son because shit, you wasn't transferring cash apps and Venmos back then. Yeah. So you pretty much did have to stay put if that was, I guess, the stipulation that you have to pay somebody.
Yeah, that's a new one. That's crazy.
They had a vagrant law. Look, y'all, they had a vagrant law in North Carolina that said if you left the state for 2 weeks, when you came back, they could arrest you and put you on somebody else's land, like sell you to somebody else, and then they could imprison you. And then if you wasn't gone for like a death or family reason, when you came back home, your house was your house no more either. Is that because you abandoned your land? So then they also say that no slaves could ever own land, grow food, buy stuff, all kind of stuff they said slaves couldn't do. And this was in Virginia and North Carolina in the 1700s.
So go back to, repeat that. You dropped a lot of knowledge there, sis. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, so it said that slaves couldn't own land. They couldn't leave, right? And if you left your home for 2 weeks, right? When you got back, if you didn't have a note or a letter saying why you was gone from somebody, and then mind you, the people who was wanting these notes couldn't read either. Okay, mind you, they couldn't read either. Okay, so they wanted a note from you saying why you were gone from your home for 2 weeks. And sometimes, in some cases, if you stayed gone, when you came back home, they would take your land in your house and say you abandoned your property.
So they were jacking land like
that. Managers to your wife and your children were still there.
If they were still there, they still did it?
They were saying that because the man wasn't there. He was the owner. He went home.
Okay.
And this is inside, these laws are inside of the 1820 Black Code Law Book in North Carolina.
I'm about to drop that in the chat.
Yeah, definitely drop that. That was good information, Crystal. I didn't know about that, but that's crazy. I feel like they would try anything to take your land and your property. They put so many fucking regulations and stipulations on us even today. Like, it's crazy. Like, they look for any reason to confiscate what you have.
And so like you do know if you're a farmer, right? You can plant your garden last month, and now you ain't got too much to do unless you plant some other stuff, right? Farming ain't really that hard, especially if you already been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? So you can sit around with your legs crossed. So they said that if you wasn't working, if they didn't feel like you were working, that they could come and arrest you, right, and put you on the chain gang. So you see, you got a whole bunch of children that just come steal up your sons. If they was walking, it's like down the street, they were kidnapping people, children left and right. Inside of America, not from nowhere else. And there was kidnapping people, children in Europe also, because it says so in the Episcopal Church records from 1606 to 1786. They kidnapped and brought over abandoned children and sold them to the plantations. And that is from the Rappahannock Court County Files.
You said the Rappahannock?
Rappahannock, yes, sir.
Okay. I'm finna, who is that? Joe Jackson. Finna let bro speak his truth real quick. Yo, salute. It's on you, bro. You got the flow.
Oh, yeah. Salute everybody. Peace to the room. Peace to all the familiar faces and the new ones. I was just enjoying the build y'all was giving, going over some of the old law, the old Americas in the 1700s, 1800s, all that beautiful stuff. I wanted to say this. I appreciate y'all bringing information and genealogy help to the people, and keep on pushing, man. I'm tired of other people knowing the truth and we don't know the truth. I'm tired of white people looking at niggas, calling them ignorant, and we not understanding where the ignorant come from. I'm tired of our own people ignoring facts for feelings. We definitely got to keep pushing all true information until we can't no more. Cause I can't have my kid grow up with a narrative on who they are. I need them to know exactly who they are through my family's genealogy and through the history of where they people was at. So I'm just very appreciative for what y'all doing, and don't let no bullshit stop y'all. Don't let no bullshit halt y'all. Proud, small now, don't matter. They always come to the truth sooner or later. I'm just a country boy from Monroe, Louisiana. You feel me? All I ever known, you feel me? People gonna say black culture, but Indian culture. I was looking at the numbers to some of the cities that my family was from today. The city I grew up in, Monroe, Louisiana, that whole 66% black. The city my peoples grew up in today, it's still 50-50, half and half, and 2% like Mexican or some shit. And Grambling, where a lot of my family went to school, that whole still 90% black. So I always grew up around the culture and in the culture in northern Louisiana, you feel me? I always knew we was a special people. I just didn't get the American Indian history. My grandma was deep off in that church. But definitely ain't never heard nobody in Louisiana call themselves African. And let me be specific, North Louisiana. I ain't never heard us referring to ourselves as African. I ain't never seen the African side, African colors, nothing. We just were who we were, and it's just crazy to know how deep the culture was. ULM, the university that was in my hometown, they had an Indian mascot, of course. They the Red Hawks now. Of course, everybody know we got Private Point. We got Private Point down there in that northern Louisiana area. Surprisingly enough, the first girl I ever kissed when I was about 7 years old was named Sequoia. I ain't even know that was no Indian shit, but it was some Indian shit, you feel me? I moved up to Washington State. First middle school I went to was Sequoia Middle School, you feel me? Sometimes stuff just be right in your face, but you don't know. You can't tell, you can't see. it's just crazy how stuff happens and how the truth reveals itself. But yeah, I just want to show appreciation to y'all and share a little bit of who I am. Y'all go ahead and keep on building. I don't want to interrupt no more.
Man, I appreciate you for coming up here and speaking your truth, man.
Yes, thank you for that. I actually learned something new because I didn't know Sequoia was a Indian name. And it's funny because years back, during my ancestry research, I found a cousin, and her name is Sequoia. And I never really asked about her name or really knew where her mom got the name from. I thought it was unique, but yeah, her name is Sequoia. So that's interesting.
Very. It's a lot of names. It's a lot of words we use that's indigenous. Salute to everybody in the space.
Yeah, because you will see that, like, that's why they call English a bastard language. It's because they don't want to give us recognition for the words that we speak now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's from our tongue.
English
from our language. They don't want to give us any recognition at all whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because when you look up the Germanic words for, like, even friend, you'll see, like, friend, like, really, that's like, okay, they word is like, when you look up their definition of it, and that's how they say it in the Germanic way. You feel me? But when we say it, it's friend. And they try to make it seem like they created that, when that was our interpretation of what they were saying. Just like some people say engine back in the day. Everybody ain't say engine. And before that, it was something else. You feel me?
You know what's crazy about this genealogy we be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the genealogy we done, we know we done only probably a whole countrywide. You only know about 2 Africans. One is Questlove, and the other is whoever the fuck. And everybody got Indian in their family.
Everybody
got Indian in their family. Everybody admitting to the Black European too, but don't nobody want to claim that Black European. That's the funniest shit to me in the world. Some of these niggas only got 2 Indian ancestors. I know these niggas out here, and they sitting here trying to sneak into the crowd. Oh, we African American now. Oh, we Black, but now we Indian. They trying to scoot in places. Like, bring your Black European ass on. These motherfuckers out here done had slave owner families. They done had colonizer families, and they don't want to admit to it. And that's one of the funniest things to me. I know I'm looking for the Black European. I'm looking for the boss ass nigga that came over here disrupting shit, because shit, that's a part of my line. But some of these motherfuckers, family ain't never been broke. Family still got land from 1716 and shit. These niggas is funny for that, man. So that's one thing I'm waiting for.
Facts. They family ain't never got tricked out no land, got killed for no land, none of that. Like, like I'm seeing today, I really seen over, like, damn, I was lying. I really seen I seen over about 350 acres, like, a land that got sold in my family.
How about in my family, my European granddaddies came. The first one came as a settler, right? And then his son, he went back and he came back in where they got he got one of them girls that they brought over on the boat, right?
Love, man.
And they had grandfather Randall, and then he married an American girl.